But the big impacts here for Northeast Florida, I'm just going to kind of bring you some bad news. I don't think we're going to get snow accumulations here in Northeast Florida. There will be a good sticking of 1 to possibly 2 inches of rain from Tallahassee back towards Pensacola, where the snow is currently falling right now. And here you can see road conditions right now are snowy in the white. So from Mobile back to Louisiana, and that green that's in the Panhandle will quickly be turning over to snow, but the green over Jacksonville down through Central Florida, those are wet roadways right now. So winter storm warning, this is what I was talking about, being a very unique situation here. This is in place until 1 o'clock on Wednesday, meaning that there could be winter precipitation conditions here in those areas in pink. Why until 1 o'clock? Well, it could take at least until the middle of the day for temperatures to get back above freezing. And even though chances are we will be above freezing by, say, the mid-morning hours, some of that ice is going to have to melt, and it will take a few hours for temperatures to be above 32 degrees for road conditions to be safe. So all those areas, which includes everyone except for St. Johns County down towards Flagler County, you're not under the winter storm warnings, but we have some rain around, and it's just that liquid. Nothing is freezing here, and I don't think we'll see anything freezing until midnight tonight in Jacksonville. Once we get past midnight, game on for seeing some ice, especially in western Duval. All right, so the snow is out west of us. Let's try to move these maps over. There we go.
People are so excited.
This is pretty impressive here.
Yeah.
Over the past 3 hours, that snow has been getting closer and closer to Florida. And for the last hour, from Mobile towards areas north of Pensacola, they have been seeing snow. Now, some of this is elevated, not reaching the ground, but we're going to be looking at some of the surface observations to confirm that that snow has reached the ground. And then we'll be watching to see how much accumulation is sticking there on the ground. It is sticking back in Baton Rouge. They're getting observations at the surface of snow falling, and this is fitting into the forecast that we've been saying, coating the Panhandle with snow. In Panama City, some of the models are showing a half-foot of snow in Panama City, and usually areas right along the water are immune to heavy snowfall. The situation in this case is that the northerly winds is going to block any marine layer from coming in and bringing in sleet. So they could actually, notice right there, New Orleans is a perfect example how those northerly winds is bringing snow down to the coast. So we are looking at the movement here over the past 3 hours, moving towards and through Alabama and into Georgia. And that is going to bring into the forecast here in Georgia this evening. You could see some flurries in Waycross just after sundown. So right now it feels like 29 degrees there with the breezes that are up. It feels like it's still in the 30s, the snow tracker. This is a pretty interesting graphic. Here we are through 11 o'clock. You can see it's all rain in the area, except from around northern Nassau County, Brunswick, Waycross, you're going to get into that wintry precipitation mix. So we're looking at some sleet there, and that sleet would likely stick on the ground and start icing over roadways north of I-10 after midnight. So wrap up any transportation plans you may have before midnight. The snow in blue, notice for the mid-evening hours, there's going to be some snow showing up in our northern counties. In our viewing area, which is Waycross and Homerville, you're going to start to see that snow. And notice how it drops south, and so does the freezing rain. The areas where it could be dangerous here driving in North Florida is from McClenny to Maxville, Baldwin, areas around Callahan. That's where a 1/4 inch of ice may accumulate on the roads. That's the danger levels when you get to a 1/4 inch of ice. Notice how that snow has a really hard time getting into Northeast Florida. So that's why I feel pretty good that we're going to be dealing with a mix of maybe a flurry in there, ice on the roads, and for areas from Green Cove to St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra, and point southward, sorry, it's all rain for you. No sledding around the area here. But that's a good timeline of how even after sunrise tomorrow, you could see a few flurries mixed in with the sleet here in Jacksonville. So when the temperatures get down to 32 degrees on the ground, we could have ice accumulating in our area. And so that's a big concern here. If you have to drive tonight, the major interstates are preparing for salt on some of the roads, but it does look like the iciest areas would be in western Duval to Baker County. And just be mindful that very few of us have practice driving on the ice. And even if you are from Minnesota, I guess you probably can't drive on ice because the wheels have no traction. And those of you that live up north know it's not possible to drive on ice. Snow is a different situation, but why isn't it going to snow in Florida? Well, the reason being here in northeast Florida, I should preface, is that there's a warm layer just above the ground. So when it rains, the Bergeron process usually means that it always starts as snow, and usually that's a wintertime situation. It always starts in snow. Even in Florida, we have snow, but it's way high in the atmosphere. But we rarely get freezing temperatures down at the ground, and if we do get freezing temperatures at the ground, there's usually a warm inversion layer just above us, and that will melt the snow aloft into sleet, or even ice pellets. Ice pellets are like very small areas of hail, but it's much smaller than hail, and it forms in a totally different process than a thunderstorm. So looking at temperatures here tonight, you can see we're looking at temperatures there in the mid-20s.
Yeah, and I actually was looking up a good tip. If you are driving and you think you're on dry ice, look at the car in front of you, and if there's any spray coming off their tires, you're not. But if there's no spray and there's wet roads, you are on dry ice.
Yeah,
dry ice, black ice.
Black ice, yeah. The amount of rain that we're anticipating is not going to put a glaze over, so it should whiten up the ice a bit. So you'll probably be able to see it. The black ice that is really talked about in the media is oftentimes on a clear sky after a little bit of rain comes through. But this is hard freeze criteria, so those of you from Jacksonville west, you may want to consider dripping the pipes very lightly. You're not talking about a gush of water, but just a slow pipe drip if you have exposed faucets on the outside of your homes. And you might want to put a bib faucet over or wrap your pipes, and that way you would not have to drip your pipes, but it would offer some pipe protection. Notice the freeze misses the beaches, mid-30s.
Isn't that great?
It's going to be quite windy along the coast tonight. I think we haven't been talking enough about the wind.
43 miles an hour.
Yeah, so there's going to be gale conditions. In fact, here's a map that shows those areas in red, those are 40 mile per hour, almost like tropical storm winds, and we could get gusts to about 30 miles per hour around the coastal spots here through the evening. So I would not recommend covering your plants along the beaches. It's going to do no good with that type of wind. Not only could it blow the coverings away, but it really won't offer much insulation. But with those winds staying out of the north tomorrow, those inland spots will freeze, and that's why there won't be any protection from that marine layer. So if you're packing up the car, you want to see some of the frozen stuff, as much as 2 to 4 inches from Waycross northward in that blue band, and that could extend down to Tallahassee and areas across the state line, anywhere from maybe an inch to at the most 2 inches. So these are some pretty healthy, overzealous forecast model estimates. This is probably the maximum potential for any type of snowfall, and it is even showing maybe a little bit of a dusting into Nassau County, but I think those amounts would be very scant and barely accumulating to anything. So we're dwelling on the freeze potential here. That's going to be the big concern, and you can see over 1/4 inch in Baker County through Lake City, the Swanee River Valley. That would put 500 pounds of weight on a power line for every 1/4 inch. So just multiply that, and you can see how the weight could cause power outages. And tomorrow morning, we will be talking about power outages in the area for sure. It is a given. Unique situation. We usually talk about that in high wind events, but this is just from the ice. Notice no ice accumulating in any of the beaches except from around Amelia Island up through St. Mary's and Brunswick, where we might see some of that ice forming. And then we're going to be showing you that tomorrow night, it doesn't warm up. We're looking at multiple freezes here through the weekend, except it will be even warmer along the beaches. Instead of the 30s, you recover into the 40s. So no snow here during the day today, just clouds, and then we'll start to see those morning showers we've been dealing with. We'll take a pause, and then through the evening, especially as we head towards, say, 8 and 9, the rain will pick up in coverage across the area. And after midnight here in northeast Florida, we could see some of the rain instantly freezing when it hits the ground, with those temperatures getting down to about 29 degrees here in the Jacksonville area and even colder out towards the west. So tomorrow we're looking at highs only in the low 40s. So that's why until 1 o'clock there's that winter storm warning, because it could take that long to even break out of the 30s. So it's going to be a cloudy, cold day. We could have record low maximum high temperatures for that date tomorrow. So that might be the first time this winter that we've seen a record low temperature and it happened during the day. No record lows at all at night. We need to get down into the single digits. 7 is the coldest it's ever been here in Jacksonville in January.
Thank God
and
we're not there.
Teens. Yeah. So
Thank God.
You see no teens showing up, so there's no chance for records at night. So So hopefully that kind of helps you plan out and stay safe with this
And I was saying all morning, we're going to be here every hour of the night. Like, we're going to be with you every single hour. So, we're here for you. If you have questions, email us, get up with us. But